So the question that keeps rolling off of more and more tongues every day right now is, are we done with this irrigation season? Can we put it in the books and be finished? And here's my tale to you. I would caution you that you need to be very vigilant about evaluating the end of this irrigation season. My name's Keith Byerly, ACS Manager at Central Valley Ag, and this is your precision focus that correlates with the blog on the CVA site. Where are we at? What's the end game right now? So I think if you look at our corn and our soybeans, that we can make some general statements that are in line. Both our corn and our soybeans right now have about 2 to 3 inches of moisture left that they need right now. These soybeans, you can see some of these fields have just a little bit of bronzing starting in them, but by and large, the irrigated stuff has still got a good green color to it. So let's break that down one more notch. On our corn, that half milk line equals 2 1/4 inches of rain that we need yet to finish things out for the season. As we look at that 2 1/4 inches of rain that's left on that thing, and we refer that to some charts, we see that that means that we're about 90 to 95% of our dry matter accumulation for the season complete. So this last 2 1/4 inches of moisture that our corn's gonna take right now has about 10% of the weight left in the crop. And that, remember, we don't sell bushels across the scale, we sell pounds. So 10% of the total pounds can add up very, very quickly. On the other side, when we look at our soybeans, what we've got here is, as long as they've got this green color, we have to assume that we're still talking about needing about 3 inches of water out here. When they start to get that bronze color, when you can detect yellow driving by at 40 miles an hour, that means we're down to a 2-inch requirement to finish out those beans. Again, same story with our beans. That last 2 inches of water holds somewhere in the range of 4 or 5 bushel for us on those beans. Again, 4 or 5 bushel equals into real dollars for us. These numbers that I'm quoting don't just come from random sources. You can find a lot of these numbers all together on UNL's Crop Watch site. And if you really want to get specific about staging out where your corn is at and figuring out that final water requirement, underneath the Crop Watch site, there's a sub-site called Useful to Usable. And there you can put in your planting date, your corn maturity, and things like that, and get down right to the growing degree days for your county and your area to see exactly where you're at irrigation-wise to finish out the season. But back to that point I made, we don't want to leave yield on the table. That last 2 inches of water that we talk about in that 10% of our total dry matter accumulation, think of it like this. That 2 inches of water is going to cost us, if we don't get any help from Mother Nature to finish our crop, we're going to spend somewhere in the area of $18 to $24 on that water. In corn, a 10% additional dry matter accumulation from not running out of water equals $40 to $50 at current market prices. That additional 4 to 5 bushels can easily add up into the $30 and maybe even $40 range depending on your marketing program. So at the end of the day, shorting these crops is going to hurt not only the crop itself, but directly our pocketbook. If you have any questions about where you're at and what you need to finish up, I encourage you to talk to your ACS regional specialists and get the story from them. See what your moisture probes say, spend some time out in your field, identify exactly where you're at on growth stages, and at the end of the day, let's make sure we don't short these crops.